who are with us as we gather together to praise our God and our King. I have a few announcements going on the life of our church that I want you all aware of. The first thing is I want to give thanks to all those who made a gift in honor and memory of a loved one for our musical memorials and for our poinsettias. As you can tell, they are quite beautiful and always add to the enjoyment of this special time of year. I'd also like to point you to this announcement sheet inside your bulletins. It's got lots of great information. We have so many wonderful things going on over the next 10 days or so here at Benton First. The first of those is that tonight at 6 o'clock in this space, our youth group will be presenting their carols and candles. That is a youth-led narrative with some songs and some solos presented by our youth of the story of Jesus' birth. It's a really great treat, and I hope that you all will come and enjoy that tonight at 6 o'clock. The Encore Ministry is sponsoring a little reception for them after. That's a really beautiful marriage between our youth ministry and our Encore adult ministry. They have taken to one another, and we love seeing those intergenerational relationships being formed. So again, that's tonight at 6. Next Sunday, the 22nd at 6 o'clock, we'll be having our community Christmas service. This is new for us this year, and we thought instead of having another service where we invited the community to come to our church, we should take the church to the community. And so at 6 o'clock on Sunday evening in the Tyndall Park Amphitheater, we will be having a community Christmas service. It'll be different from our traditional Christmas Eve services just a few days later, so you can definitely come to both. You'll hear a different message, hear different music, and I would encourage you to invite someone you know to come and be a part of that service. If you'd like to help us with setup or with takedown, we would also appreciate that. If you would just send me an email, give me a call, or call the church office. We will get you down for that. And that's next Sunday night. It's a new thing for us this year that we're really, really excited about. Going to reach people for Jesus Christ. And then finally, our Christmas Eve schedule. So on the 24th, we have 3 services that evening, all here in the sanctuary. The 4 o'clock service is our family service. It's geared towards children and young adults. It has no sermon. You'll instead hear a narrative retelling of the story of Jesus' birth. It is earlier in the evening, and so we gear that towards our young families. We'd love to have you there for that. It does contain the traditional elements of communion and candlelight at the end. And then the 6 and 11 o'clock traditional carols, candles, and communion services are both at 6 p.m. and 11 p.m. here in the sanctuary. And those are the very traditional Christmas Eve services that many of us are so fond of. Again, friends, if you would like to invite someone to be a part of any or all of those experiences, we would love for you to do that. We encourage you to make room in your hearts and in our church for those who need to experience the love of Jesus Christ this year. Hope that you've had a great season so far, and we'll continue to see you and all that God is doing here at First United Methodist. Let's stand together this morning and sing our choral processional as we prepare our hearts and minds for worship.
Sometimes our journey, our feet get heavy, our shoulders up. Sometimes in the preparation, the busyness overwhelms us, and we get lost in the doing, and in the planning, and in the running. And what we lose is a sense of why. Why do we do all this? Why is this journey too simple for the joy of it. We forget the joy when we get caught up in the to-do list. We forget the joy when we worry more about how things look than connecting to others. Matthew tells us that when John asked if Jesus was the one to come, Jesus responded by saying, look around you. Our call on this Advent journey is to look around us, to see the one who comes already at work. He's among us, and he celebrates that presence with joy. We light the candles of peace and joy to light our way as we journey. Come, let us go up to the mountain of the Lord, that God may teach us the ways of peace and hope and joy.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Josh Johnson. I'm the director of sacred music here at BentonFUMC, and our opening hymn today is going to be number 245. If you would please turn in your hymnals to that page, to the first Noel, and stand and sing with us.
Thank pastor here at Benton United Methodist, and it's a joy to get to join my voice together with yours as we pray. The Lord be with you. And also with you. Let us pray. Great God above in the heavens, great and humble God, born in a manger, great and mysterious God who comes to us in your Holy Spirit. We thank you that you surround us, that you uphold us, that everything in creation is yours, that you made it, that you sustain it, and that your love for us knows no end. We thank you for the hope and the joy and the peace and grace of this Christmas season as we long for your coming. Lord, we confess that this season is full of so many busyness, so much stress, so much desire for everything to be perfect, to be how it was, or to be how we wish it could be. God, we ask humbly now that you would give us this season what is actually the deepest longing of our heart, and that's your Son, Jesus Christ. Help us to find him. And so many people have been pointing us to your Son, Jesus Christ. Sure, yes, we do it every Sunday morning, but the wise men point us to your Son. John the Baptist point us to your Son. The shepherds coming in from the field, all of them pointing us to you. And there are so many other people, so many other things in this world and in this life that want to point us away. So we ask that you would let us begin that journey to you today. None of us brought gold or frankincense or myrrh to lay before you today, but we have all brought our hearts. We ask that the Holy Spirit would help us to lay that before you today. You could take it, transform it, and in so doing, help us to point others to you. God, we thank you for that prayer which your Son Jesus Christ taught us. We thank you for the gift of your presence. And as we proclaim this prayer together, that we announce that your kingdom has come and that you are soon on your way to take up your throne over all the nations and all the peoples, to bring us your light and your life. And so we pray, our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation,
last week with some incredible music by our Tinsel Sanctuary Choir and our Handbell Choir. The way that these lay people use their gifts for God is truly a blessing to us all and points us all to a deeper love and appreciation for God, and we're so thankful for them. Today we're good? Okay. All right. Nobody's question was her first response. That's good to know, nobody's question. All right. Today we're continuing our sermon series called Picking Up Christmas. What we've been talking about in the last few weeks is how we can put down the stress and the anxiety and the fear and the sadness that the season often brings, and instead to pick up the true meaning of Christmas. We started by looking at what it means to give and to receive the gift of Jesus. And last week we looked at how we could participate in God's presence in our lives during a sojourn. We felt lost or exiled, isolated in a way. As we continue this today, it's my hope and my prayer that as we gather here that we would hear God's voice and experience God's presence in our lives. For many of us, if we get honest, it seems as though it's been a while since we've heard from God. It may have been weeks or months or even years since we felt, heard, seen God's presence in our lives. We've all come here with the express intent today to be a part of what God is doing. So as we listen to incredible music, as we hear Scripture read aloud, may we tune our hearts to a new, powerful understanding of Christ's desire to be with us. If I should close your eyes, place your palm to your lap, and take a big deep breath. And to know that in this moment, in this time and space, God is here. The God of all creation, the God of all mankind is here, ready to be with you. So we tune our hearts, our minds, and open them to experience Christ. Repeat the words of this prayer under your breath after me, so that this prayer comes out. Gracious God, in the silence of this moment, prepare our hearts and minds to hear your word for us this day. Work your will in our lives. Amen. Charles Perrow is one of the world's great sociologists. He wrote multiple books and was renowned for his research and his work in understanding the way human culture works. He taught for years at Yale University and was a brilliant sociologist up until November when he passed away. One of his most famous works is his book called Studies, and puts together a theory of why these happen, particularly in large corporations or factories, how disasters take place. He started this research in the mid-'80s after the 3 Mile Island nuclear reactor meltdown disaster, one of the worst nuclear disasters of all time. And so we went in to study and find out why and how that had happened. And he came to the conclusion that what happened at 3 Mile Island was no different than what happened in Chernobyl. It was no different than happened in there's a major crisis, a major disaster where humans are at play. And what he came to was a real basic, simple truth is that humans make mistakes. You familiar with that concept of making a mistake? It's a pretty universal truth. That humans make mistakes despite their best efforts and intentions not to. That even when they're properly trained, even when they're really trying, even when they're well cared for, humans make mistakes. And that's going to lead to an issue when you introduce humans to two things. The first of those is a very complex system that humans have to work in. So a complex system is something that has lots of gauges and levers, there's lots of things to pay attention to, and things can change quickly. Think of an airplane. And it's no small marvel that an airplane can leave the ground and fly for hours, but that happens due to some pretty seriously complex machine work, computer work, and systems. And all of that can change at a moment's notice with a change in the weather or with some other airline or flying object. Things have to happen quickly. And in the midst of that, human pilots, despite their being well-trained and having lots of experience, can still make mistakes. And in a complex system, a mistake by a human can cause some significant issues if it doesn't have time to be fixed. Most of the time in an airplane, with an incredible success rate, There are mistakes that are made. Most of the time, pilots are able to rectify their homes because there's time. But what Peril found is that when you have a complex system and no time to fix mistakes, is that most factories and corporations want to be as efficient as possible. And so they do everything possible to move as quickly and to make as much product, to make as much money, to do things as efficiently as possible. What that means is there's no time. Everything's so tightly bound. And so a slight mistake by a human in a complex system that's tightly bound can lead to catastrophe. Because that mistake is like a domino in a train. And it knocks over the next thing, and the next thing, and the next thing, and there's no time to pick up all the dominoes until there's meltdown. It says that when we combine complex systems with tightly bound operations and human error, you are bound to have problems. Now, as I was reading Peril's work, I thought about us in this season. I know that sort of I feel this way. Listening to you talk about the month of December, I get a sense that you feel this way too. We as individuals and as a community are complex systems. We've got a lot going on with our emotions, with our joys and our pains and our heartbreaks. We're under an intense financial stress during the shopping season, trying to make sure we bought all the right gifts for all the right people, spending oftentimes more than we're comfortable with. There's a lot going on in our emotions, in our hearts, and our minds. We're having these expectations to have the perfect Christmas, to make everything right for our kids and our grandkids, to have the happiest Christmas ever. And you partner that with intensely busy schedules. You've seen all that we've done here at the church, just at the church in the last month. Almost every Sunday and Wednesday night we've had something, and then events throughout the week. And that's just church. That's not including your family or your social life or all your other obligations. And we get to find ourselves being really tightly bound with all these expectations for our time and our energy and our money. And it seems to me as though that in this month of December, we as human beings, as communities, are complex systems that are tightly bound. And it leads us not to maybe to meltdown where we're throwing a temper tantrum in the middle of Walmart. Maybe you have. It certainly leaves us feeling drained, grumpy, less kind, less loving, less generous than we ought to be. Because our system is stressed. We're a complex system that is tightly bound. Now, Pero said that you can't fix the human problem. We are who we are. So the only way to fix this was to change the system. And so what I want us to do today is to look at how we might be able to change our system. To change the way we experience the month of December and the holiday of Christmas that might lead us into a deeper relationship with God and a more deeper and faithful relationship with the world around us. To do that, we're going to turn to Scripture. Today we're reading from the book of James, chapter 5, verses 7 through 10. If you want to join on this red Bible, it's right in front of you in the pew. I'll be on page 231 in the New Testament near the back. It is the book of James, chapter 5, verses 7 through 10. It says this: Be patient, therefore, beloved, until the coming of the Lord. The farmer waits for the precious crop from the earth, being patient with it until it receives the early and the late rains. You also must be patient. Strengthen your hearts, for the coming of the Lord is near. Beloved, do not grumble against one another, so that you may not be judged. See, the judge is standing at the door. As an example of suffering and patience, beloved, take the prophets who spoke in the name of the Lord. This is the word of God for us, the people of God. Thanks be to God. James is writing this letter to the early church throughout the ancient world. A church who believed that Jesus was coming back in glory in their lifetime. Now, this is a belief that has shifted over time in Christianity over the last 2,000 years. Is that for those first Christians, they believed that Jesus was coming back soon and very soon. Now, most of us believe that that is a possibility, that's something that can happen if Jesus wants it to happen, but not many of us are expecting it to happen in our lifetimes. We certainly don't live as though we're expecting Christ's return right now in our lives. But for the early church, they did. And it was important for James to tell them to be patient because they were undergoing the first signs of persecution. Now, this is not the wholesale slaughter of Christians that we'll see a few centuries later, but many Christians were losing their jobs, being evicted from their homes, and being kicked out of social circles that they were accustomed to because of their faith in Christ. And so James is calling and urging them to practice faithful patience in the midst of persecution. In the midst of difficult times, be patient. Now, it's important to note here that this patience he points to like a farmer. A farmer who plants his crops in the spring and then has to wait for the miracle of the seasons, the rains, the sun, corresponding order until the crops are ready for harvest. It's relatively out of the farmer's hands. James points to the prophets as a sign of patience. These faithful women and men who heard God's words, who made God's prophecies about a future that many of them didn't get to live to see. They would hear prophecies of peace in the midst of conflict. They would never get to see the peace of God come to fruition. So James calls for patience like the prophets. How do we practice faithful patience in the time of year in which that seems so counterintuitive? When our schedules are so packed, when there's so much left to do, why would we be patient? We don't have time to be patient. How do we practice faithful patience in this season? Friends, I believe that if we can engage, put into place, acts of faithful patience, the 10 days that we have left until Christmas, I believe that it's going to change your life. I believe it's going to change my life. So I want to look at what faithful patience is and what it means, and how we can engage it in our lives, because I think it has the potential to really change the way we experience the season, the way we experience God, and the way that we experience the next 10 days of our lives. And so if you will turn me to the back of your bulletin, you'll find some sermon notes there. If you want to follow along with me, fill in those blanks. There's also room to jot down any notes that you may have. But what we see in that first note is that faithful patience unwinds our complex systems. Faithful patience unwinds our complex systems. Remember, Caro said that we couldn't change the human element, that we had to change the system. And so, friends, unless you want to just skip Christmas altogether, unless you want to skip the presents and skip the parties and skip the cooking and skip the food and skip all the family gatherings, unless you just want to just skip it all, then we're going to have to face this. Because there's going to be all of those things. And so we can either face them in a way that leaves us feeling tired and drained and run down and we're not experiencing God, or we can practice faithful patience and unwind the tightly bound system. Begin to pull back and to breathe some opportunity for God to move. Friends, I believe that practicing faithful patience is quite simple. You hear that word? I'm not saying easy, I'm saying simple. I believe practicing faithful patience is as simple as taking a break. That when you encounter something that is stressful, that is anxiety-inducing, that is anger-fueling, that is another thing that you have to do or accomplish or add to your list, breathe. Take a moment and practice faithful patience and breathe. And as you breathe in the air of God, you ask God what you want and what He wants in this moment. What is it that He wants you to hear? What is it that God wants you to see? What is it that God wants you to experience? What is it that God wants you to share? What is it that God wants you to give? And so that whatever that thing is that you're responding to, you practice faithful patience and allow yourself to have an opportunity to breathe in the presence of God and allow your response to be God's response. That instead of responding in that domino effect that's leading to cataclysmic crisis, that's leading to anger, that's leading to stress, that's leading to burnout, you respond in the way that God wants you to respond. It is as simple as taking a breath in the days to come and acknowledging that you might need God's presence to help you do it. And I'm of the belief, friends, that not only will this deepen our own personal relationship with God, not only will we be more intentional about connecting with what God is doing in our lives, but we will be more deeply reflecting who God is to the world around us. That instead of being encountered by stress and anxiety, we meet that with the calming, loving presence of God. It's as simple as taking a breath. Faithful patience, though, is not easy. It's simple, but it's not easy. For many of us are impatient people. Hi, I'm Ben Christian, and I'm an impatient person. But hear me say this to me and to you, just because we're impatient doesn't mean we get to stay that way. They say patience is a virtue, and it's true. And virtues are things that don't come naturally. Virtues are things that you plant and that you grow and that you cultivate inside of you, that you work on to be more of. And so just saying, oh, I'm impatient, I get to explode. No, that's not acceptable. That's not an excuse. We cultivate faithful patience in our lives by taking deep breaths, by taking moments. It's what James calls strengthening the heart. It's an exercise that we do to more faithfully reflect who God is in our lives. And what if we did this, friends, this next 10 days, to practice this faithful patience, to see where God is, what God is, and where God is calling us to be. It's as simple as taking a breath. What would it do? What would it look like for us? See, I really think that faithful patience has the potential to change the way that we engage with the world around us. That's our second point for today. Is that really faithful patience is modeling Jesus Christ the best that we can. What really faithful patience is modeling Jesus Christ the best we can. That when we take that big deep breath, we practice patience, we're creating opportunity for God to move in us so that we can model Jesus Christ to the world. So many of us think that patience is sitting in our hands waiting for something to happen. And some of us sit on our hands better than others. I'm a bad hand sitter. But friends, that is not patience. That's not the same thing. Anxiously sitting on your hands waiting for the next thing to come is not patience. Faithful patience instead is a constant and intentional look at how you can model in your life the hands and feet, the words, the actions of Jesus Christ. How can you model those things for the world? Friends, we so desperately need to model them for the world. Because as we wait in this season of waiting, as we wait for the return of Christ in triumphant glory, as we wait for the return of Christ in the manger, as we wait for Christ, we need to model Christ. Because until that day that Christ comes back in final victory and every knee bows and every tongue confesses, then it's up to us to model Jesus Christ for the world. Because friends, you, hear me when I say this, hear me when I say this, you may be the only representation of Jesus Christ that someone ever sees. And it may be that cashier at the grocery store, and maybe that family member who's lost their way, and maybe someone at work who just needs some love. You may be the only representation of Jesus Christ that someone sees. And so then that responsibility for us to do our very best, to patiently wait for Christ to come back, is to model Christ in the here and now. To live our lives in such a way that every response, every word, every action reflects the ultimate love of Jesus Christ that is made known in His incarnation and on the cross. And yes, that's a weighty responsibility to bear, I understand. But it is our responsibility to bear witness to the hope and the healing, the love, joy, peace, and hope of Jesus Christ. To bring peace on earth and goodwill to men. Because we are Christ's servants. And what we do in the here and now matters deeply, not just for ourselves, but for everyone around us. So we practice faithful patience by modeling Jesus Christ. Brothers and sisters, we've got 10 days. 10 days between now and Christmas. And I'm sure that in the next 10 days you have lots of mores. More cooking, more baking, more shopping, more spending, more traveling, more parties, more gatherings, more. Some of those mores may make you happy, and some of them may make you sad. But in those mores, friends, in those mores, let's take a breath. Say a prayer. Let's practice faithful patience. Models for those who are hurting and lost the love of God in Jesus Christ. Models for a broken and hurting world. Forgiveness and salvation Christ brings. Let's take a breath and ask ourselves what it is that God wants us to
We are an Advent people, a people of hope. For us, Advent is a time of waiting. So we wait. We wait for the coming of the one who is the fulfillment of hope, the declaration that we have been redeemed. Even so, we are not a naive people. We know that the world in which we live will continue to be filled with pain and sorrow. We know that hatred and violence will continue to exist. We know that death and separation will continue to be a part of our lives. But because we are an Advent people, we know that none of these things will win in the end. The Holy One is coming to make holy once again all that was, is, and ever will be. In our waiting and our hoping, we work and worship, pray and play.
So we are so very close to the end of our debt picture and being debt-free completely. We know that God is with us and that God is for us. And so we ask that you would continue to be generous in all things, with our time and our energy and our money, so that God can do incredible things with this church. Let us pray together. Gracious and holy God, we ask that you take these, our offering, that you transform them into the bricks and mortar that will build your kingdom. God, we know that you have given to us so that we can give to you and to others. Help us to be a blessing to the world, Lord God. Create in us a heart of spirit of generosity, of love, and of mercy. God, I give you thanks for the gifts. I give you thanks for the giver. And I ask that you continue to strengthen all of us in your love. We ask these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.